In the Game of Thrones, the land of Westeros is a battlefield disguised as a kingdom, where crowns are earned through manipulation, betrayal, and calculated cruelty. Honor gets you killed, mercy gets exploited, as we've seen with Ned Stark, and only those willing to outthink and outmaneuver their enemies survive long enough to rule, with the lesser having to scheme and plot, plan and betray those around them to further their own agendas. And with the looming threat marching south, an ancient civilization known as the White Walkers, this becomes a nightmare to play, let alone win. Welcome to Would Lelouch Win, a Game of Thrones.
I have a question. Were you intending to use the Damocles as a tool to dominate the world?
Lelouch v. Britannia is a person known for his deep care for those around him. His friends, his family, and his goals. No single one is greater than the other. When it comes down to it, he doesn't just pick fights he can win. No matter how the odds are stacked against him, he'll do what he believes must be done. For Lelouch, traveling the world of Westeros is no easy task, as he does have a weakness that makes him pretty vulnerable, being that he cares significantly about the lives of others, his friends, and his sister. Throughout Code Geass, Lelouch does make mistakes mostly due to his complete willingness to sacrifice himself for those he loves. Like when he wasn't willing to lie to his sister Nunnally, all Lelouch had to do was act like everything was normal. And while clearly a trap, Lelouch couldn't bear lying to his sister, due to the act being morally wrong. Until being saved by another Geass user, allowing Lelouch to talk to his sister unnoticed. This version of Lelouch wouldn't make it far, especially if someone such as the infamous Ramsay Bolton got a hold of his sister. But this won't be the case, as we'll be replacing Jon Snow for Lelouch. This is the most ideal, as both in Code Geass and Game of Thrones, Lelouch and Jon alike are the candidates to their respective thrones, and direct relatives to the true kings. With nobody truly knowing, the only difference is that Lelouch knows that he is royalty, whereas Jon didn't know for majority of the series. But whether Lelouch knows or not doesn't really change anything, as he wouldn't disclose that information until he had the world in checkmate. We'll say that Lelouch does know he is a direct relative to the Mad King, and that he has a claim to the throne, but he'll be raised by Ned Stark and take Jon's place in the show. This is the most fair replacement, as a world with both Jon Snow and Lelouch is absolutely unfair. This changes a ton of things obviously, making the threat of the Night Walkers much more immediate, as without Jon Snow, they would not have won the fight. So the first major change in this plot is the Night's Watch. With Lelouch taking the place of Jon Snow, instead of slowly climbing the ranks and earning respect amongst the Night's Watch, Lelouch would likely want to weaponize the Night's Watch and create a military power, adding wildlings to their ranks almost immediately after talking with Mance Rayder, attacking the fundamentals from within and restructuring the order entirely. How he does that is the tricky part. But given Lelouch has experience turning an already existing force into his own private army via the Black Knights, he definitely wouldn't have any trouble getting it done with the Night's Watch, with the only real threat to his plans being Alliser Thorne. The Night's Watch is mostly, if not entirely, made up of guys who want to prove themselves. They crave acceptance, unity, and brotherhood, things Lelouch would use to his advantage, as the promise of glory, fame, and unwavering loyalty would be things they would jump at the chance for, with Alliser's rule by fear tactic completely shattering under those aspirations of grandeur that Lelouch would feed them. So it's not how he gets the Night's Watch to do as he commands, it's more so how he strips power from Alliser and takes over. Now, the thing about Lelouch is that he wants this to seem as natural as possible. Not him chasing power or turning Alliser into a martyr by executing him, but by getting him out legally and banishing him. This reinforces the idea that anyone belittling another within the Night's Watch will be banished for treason, keeping the core values intact while simultaneously strengthening them and their loyalty towards each other. The reason Jon Snow died and was betrayed is because the Order seen him as incompetent for working with wildlings, even though what Jon did was necessary. They killed him due to mixed emotions instead of logic. Alliser can easily become painted as a villain and banished due to this one quote alone. "I am the sword in the darkness. I am the watcher on the walls, the shield that guards the realm of men." This quote is important because when it comes to accepting the wildlings, nothing in this quote explicitly states a sworn prejudice against this group of people. That means any action not taken that could save the realm of men is heavily going against the principles of the Night's Watch, even if protecting the realm of men meant siding with wildlings. This explicitly puts Lelouch in power and kicks out Alliser and the others that side with him. As Jon Snow dies trying to change the Night's Watch by doing the right thing, Lelouch lives by changing what the right thing even means, taking advantage of what the vows explicitly state and manipulating their vagueness to empower himself and banish those who don't follow those ideals. This is how Lelouch takes total control of the Night's Watch. I do believe he not only takes control, but adds the entire wildling army to his ranks. And he does this before the wildling assault on the Night's Watch. That time period in which Jon was living amongst the wildlings and learned their traditions and who they are, that was the most prime opportunity to convince Mance Rayder to join the Night's Watch. Mance refused to help Jon even though he really wanted to. Ask yourself, why? Why did he not help Jon even though he really wanted to? The answer is that he would have been required to bend the knee to Stannis Baratheon. Stannis matters not because he caused Mance's refusal, but because he revealed the non-negotiable line that Mance had always drawn. He would rather die than rule in a way that made his people see him as weak. That he wanted to save his people, but that he couldn't cross that line. This is something that can be exploited if caught early by Lelouch, as he understands being willing to die for his people, instead of being made to look weak. So Lelouch actually gets kidnapped by the wildlings with the purpose of negotiations and returning with an alliance, as Mance Rayder would have agreed to the terms had it not been a requirement to bend the knee or to look weak in general, as he did truly want what's best for his people. This happens before Stannis is ever introduced, and before the Boltons even rise to power, which also means that Robb Stark is still King of the North, and alive, further giving Lelouch wiggle room to negotiate, with the good faith being that he didn't attack your grid, and he allowed himself to be captured by them, with Lelouch offering them a home beyond the wall if they help fight the White Walker threat, and with the possibility of breaking down the wall entirely, securing Mance rule in the north that the wildlings already occupy. As with the White Walkers gone, the need for a wall is gone, benefiting negotiations between the North and Southern North, opening trading routes and unified protection, while creating future allies and strengthening the North as a whole. Lelouch would do this with the secret intentions of building the North into a kingdom that can rival even the Vale, so his only request is that Mance Rayder allies with Lelouch when the time comes for him to take over. That after breaking the wall, they unite and become what the North was always meant to be, united. The wildlings own the North as much as he, as they share the same founding fathers. Either way, Mance accepts this deal, being seen as the leader who gave freedom and land to his people, unified the North, and created a real kingdom and player in the game, in which the White Walker threat will be dealt with definitively. The wildling culture expands across the North. He will basically be seen as Jesus for his people. And it's all on Mance's own terms, as he holds the real power, with Lelouch playing hostage. So agreeing to this plan has no weakness or no real loss for Mance, while simultaneously advantageous to Lelouch, as this makes the North a real threat, with the wildlings and Night's Watch all in alliance with Lelouch. So this leaves only one real goal, with two problems: the White Walkers in the South. As Lelouch leaves the wall to speak with Robb Stark, the wall is secured, the North is not, and the war for Westeros has finally begun.